Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are listening to Love Bay Afrobeats Music Talk Radio. Welcome to another edition of the Sports Hour with Ingle and Monali. And Monali, it was lots that's going on. We had both went different directions in T10 tournament. My first experience in a T10, but a very good one actually, despite some little things that that always can be improved on. And you were down in the US at I think the second edition of the NCL.
I was, yes. So not my first rodeo at the T10, but I agree with you. It's a lot of exciting, quick action cricket.
Quick, yeah, it's quick action. It's no time to settle. You just get going. Hour and a half, you're done almost. And
Yeah.
although some games went a bit over,
Mhm.
and in our tournament, we put in an interesting rule where normally you have a fielder come in if you're slow, but we put in a rule that if you were slow, the fielder goes off the field, and that didn't happen. So the captains made sure that they got in their overs in time.
That they get, yeah, especially because when you've got back-to-back games, it makes it so difficult if you fall behind in your first game.
Yes.
Thankfully, we didn't really have any of those issues, but we were 2 games a day. So yeah, the changeover is pretty tight, but
Hmm.
from a commercial perspective and from an entertainment perspective, that's exactly what you want to give that to all your spectators, a quick changeover, action, slight break, action again.
Yeah, it was a little bit of quick turnover. The good thing for that Super 60 also is that they included women's, and that was exciting. For the women, a lot of people felt that was a good move, and there's promise that more women's team next year instead of just two. So maybe you'll have a full women's Super 60 next year. And as you said, the turnovers are so quick. It's
Yeah.
and the problem for us is that between the turnovers, you had performances. So
Yes.
that too made it a more crucial. But we'll get some more detail on the cricket later on. But there's other things that are happening. Sorry, the baseball. I'm sure you're watching that closely. I have been watching, and disappointed with Blue Jays loss yesterday. I thought that they would
Hmm.
have won right into the eighth inning. They were leading 2-1.
Yeah. Yeah. They started
And,
so well. And
one of the things I look at baseball and I always questioned is I know everybody talks about matchups and everything, but if a pitcher is going well that day, you don't necessarily change him because he's not usually a good matchup for someone and bring in who you think is a matchup. And then that person gets hammered for a home, so that's what
yeah.
happened in the Blue Jays case. I mean, but the good thing is that after losing the first two at home, they came back
Hmm.
and won in
Yeah.
yes, in Seattle. So it's down. Seattle took the third one, is now back home, and
Mhm.
can Blue Jays turn things around and win and get to the World Series? That's going to be the key thing now for Blue Jays, and I think they can do it. But with the fans' home field, no team has really shown any superiority at home. But let's hope the Blue Jays can get Sunday and Monday. And I'm sure it's going to be sold out. If you don't have a ticket, I don't think you'll be able to get one at this point.
No, but that's, you mentioned it, the home game advantage you'd expect for it to come into play, but the Jays didn't use it. Even Seattle, they lost their first game in their home ground as well. Won yesterday. I really hope the Blue Jays can pull it off because you would assume that having your crowd, having that support is going to help just motivate you that little bit more. But it's a long season, though, isn't it? It's a very long season, and
It
they're
is a
playing.
loss.
They don't get many days off.
No, I mean, you'd think that for us finals like this, that you'll have a couple of days off in between, but that's not
Yeah.
the case.
No.
It's just back to back to back, and
Hmm.
just a day off today for travel, and then back at it Sunday,
And
Monday.
back at it. Yeah.
So it's
That's
not a
pretty
lot of time.
exhausting, actually.
It is. I mean, you finish a game at night, and then you decide, okay, you
Yeah.
play the night game, and then the next day you're playing afternoon game. So it's not
Yeah.
even a 24-hour turnaround. It's less than 24 hours that you expect to turn around and be performing at peak every day. So
Hmm.
not possible, but they're professionals and they're expected to do it. If someone doesn't do it, then the next person will step up. But
Yeah.
Blue Jays still have two games to go to decide that Mariners and Blue Jays who will be in the World Series. But on the other hand, in the NLCS, it's done, four straight.
Yeah.
Dodgers 5-1 over the Brewers, and it was Otani yesterday. It was his game because the first time in the history of baseball you've had anyone strike out 10 batters and hit 3 home runs. So
Yeah. That's pretty incredible, isn't it?
it is incredible. I guess that's why he's been paid the big bucks, and there's so much
Yeah.
expected of him.
Yeah.
He's delivered, and no one expected that. But yeah, the through to the finals and await the Brewers, Dodgers are through and waiting for to see who
Hmm.
comes up against them. Sometimes do you think it's a good thing to finish early in four while the other team fight on, and you're sitting down,
Sorry.
you're sitting down for a bit, and then you have to come back. So it's not always the best thing when you're just practicing when the other team is getting game time. You often see teams that come off of a layoff and they come to play. You often see those teams lose early, but we'll see how it goes with this series. But we still have to have a game to go with Blue Jays, and then well, maybe two games actually that they'll be sitting for another couple of days before the
Yeah.
World Series starts. But I would really like to see the Blue Jays in the World Series. It's
Do you have
time, I think.
tickets for the next 2 days?
No, I'll watch on TV as I've been doing. I don't think I can handle the crowd and the rush down there. And
It's
you
the
know,
getting in and getting out, isn't it?
it's the getting in and getting out. I mean,
Yeah.
once you're inside, it's fun, but to get in and out is it's
Yeah.
the problem. And one of the things I was watching the game the other night, and the local news stations, they always carry the after game and interview people.
Mhm.
And sometimes I wonder, like, how do you just pick random people? Because some of them are wasted, and the things
Yeah.
they say on TV. I mean, you have to ask them not to swear, not to swear. But I guess it's part of the fun, maybe. But as soon as they notice, even people leaving the game notice that there's TV coverage, they just stand by the announcer. And sometimes I saw one guy hugging them, and he couldn't react because he's on air
Yeah.
live. Yeah, so it's really
They've got
funny.
to, they've got to get their limelight in too.
Yes, they
Just
do.
I was
Yeah.
I did an interview recently with someone who was wasted
Mm,
live.
live.
To
Wow.
cut it short pretty quick.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's not a good thing. Uh, and I hope no one said to you like Chris Gayle at the time. You remember those?
He was great though. Not him. It was definitely not him.
No, I'm saying, remember his famous words in Australia that got him in trouble.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he was just being funny, but they took it seriously.
It's important to understand different cultures interact differently,
Yes.
isn't it? And what is considered an insult in one place may not be an insult at all in another place. It might,
Yeah, that's
might
so
just
true.
be, yeah, normal interaction, casual interaction.
Yeah, in the Caribbean, there's so many things that are said or done that people
Yeah.
just take it as casual, as everyday thing, but it's not the norm in other countries. So
No,
you
no.
gotta be careful what you say. Yeah, so that's it. We're gonna keep an eye on the baseball and see
Mhm.
how it goes, and just as everyone is saying, "Go Jays, go!" Let's see them get to that World Series, and tomorrow. Sunday they play. I think it's an afternoon game. Is it? It's no, it's a night game. It's 8:03. It starts at 8:03, so it's a night game for Blue Jays Sunday. And those who don't get tickets, they can go and watch downtown and watch party. The bars are probably so happy that the Blue Jays are still in it, so that they're gonna have
Great business.
Business going, definitely. Good time to have a bar downtown, I'm sure. Anywhere, but downtown especially
Yeah.
must be much better.
They'll
But
have the Jumbotron outside, right? That you normally do that for
they
what they're
do it
talking to
at
after.
I forgot what's the place called, but they do it at one of those squares where you they
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There's something for the Blue Jays as well that you can watch
Yeah.
outside on the big screens. And I don't think the temperature matters to anyone right now. They'll just go and do it.
No. And with so many people, I
And it's
think the rain
expected
might
to.
have a slight issue, but that's
Yeah, I've seen in the when the Raptors are playing, I've seen them give out raincoats and stuff. So,
yeah.
well,
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm sure everything is thought of to make sure that the fans are there and have a great time. And that's the thing about. And as we're talking about fans, I think you and I had this conversation. I'm not sure if it did, but I believe so about tailgating. I was watching because where I was staying in Vancouver, I can look. There was a football game and then a soccer game.
Yeah.
And then about 4 hours before they've set up outside, the people come through. But cricket, we don't do that. We do everything inside.
Yes. I was in Dallas, and that was a big thing over there as well, because there was a football game one of the weekends that I was there. And these tailgate parties are pretty massive. And it's nice to be able to interact with people before you go into the game, you know. You get in
Yeah,
early, you beat the rush,
hmm
you make a day out of it.
yeah, and there's
Maybe we're
merchandise
just
and
too proper
everything.
with cricket.
Yeah, I think so. We're just too proper. Just show up on time. But I was talking to someone else about it too, and she told me that in Trinidad they try to do it, but they find that
Really?
people don't show up until just before game time.
Mm.
They don't want to be there. They just want to get into the stadium.
I think
And
for the shorter formats, it's totally doable. T20, T10, doable. I can understand if you don't want
it's
to do it for a one-day game because it's the whole
obvious,
day.
yeah,
But
but definitely should be.
yeah, I did have a really interesting conversation with someone yesterday, and
Hmm
I think it highlights how much work we need in North America in educating the locals on what the sport is. So we started
hmm
talking about cricket, and like 10 minutes into the conversation, she said to me, "Well, at least it's really cool that you get to work with horses." And
What is
that's when I was like, right. So we're definitely not talking about the same sport here. You're talking about polo, which
polo?
is
Yeah,
not cricket.
wow. I
I
guess
know
it's
we've got a lot of educating to do.
definitely. I guess it's a British sport, so just it's
Yes.
a wow. It's that I had a similar incident, but not polo. It was some years ago when I played for Canada, and I was working, and one day the secretary said, "You know, England, gotta ask you a question." She said, "Why?" She said, "Why a young guy like you is playing croquet?" And I said, "I said no." I said, "It's cricket." And she said, "Oh, because you're always traveling to play this." I always thought, why is he going to play croquet again? So definitely we need to educate the people as what the sport is all about in North America.
No insult to the croquet players, but
But no doubt, but yeah, definitely two different types of games for
too
sure.
different. Yeah. We have a lot of
Well,
educating to do still.
definitely a lot of educating to do. Yeah. Other things that are happening. We get into some cricket pretty shortly because I'm
Mhm.
interested to hear you talk about the World Cup and the Women's World Cup, how it's going. Um, just the Formula One, it looks like Verstappen is back in some sort of form. He takes the pole, US sprint pole for this afternoon, and he's been actually racing very well in the recent time. And it just, as I said to you, I think a couple weeks ago, I don't understand how the cars just changed like that, but Verstappen seemed to be in good shape. And one of my friends who's such a Lewis Hamilton fan, the biggest Lewis Hamilton fan I think I know, and he's down in eighth position, but he still put on his social media how he thinks Hamilton can win the sprint. But I don't think there's a chance for Hamilton being so far back when you have guys like Verstappen and
Yeah.
Norris
Yeah.
and these guys so far ahead. So It's just so if he does get up higher than there, then it's good. But other than that, I don't expect him to be winning. And the race goes tomorrow, but the sprint's today. Then they have qualifying after the sprint. So still along. Let's hope that his car can get better. But I don't expect to see anything special from Lewis Hamilton this season at all. So that's just a brief on Formula One, and I think we can get into some cricket, Monali. You're listening to Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio. It's the Sports Hour with England Monali, and I'm looking at some live. I didn't want to start with that yet, so I just want to talk about the Women's World Cup,
Let's
Pakistan
do it.
and New Zealand. I think there is a lot of rain in the last couple of days in Sri Lanka. That's all most of the
Well,
games that you
I just
go
don't
ahead.
understand. You scheduled the World Cup in Sri Lanka during the rainy season.
That's the other
What
thing I
are
don't
you
understand.
expecting for it to happen?
All of the rained out matches or rain affected matches are
Yeah,
all in Sri Lanka.
yeah,
And I was actually saying that to someone yesterday, and that's when I was told it's the reason said rainy season. I
yeah.
didn't realize that. Like, why just not keep it in India then? India has enough grounds to do all the games.
I think there's the whole political issue too, isn't there, between Pakistan not being able to play in India. So I'm wondering if that had something to do with scheduling it in Sri Lanka. But it is a rainy season, and we've now seen multiple games being affected by the rain. I think
Mhm.
today's probably going to be another washout where, Pakistan's going to lose out on their second game because of rain. I think New Zealand might be losing out on their second game as well
Yes,
because of
second,
rain.
so that's correct.
Yeah. And that's pretty impactful in a World Cup. You're waiting for this. You're waiting for these moments. I mean, New Zealand's number 5 on the table. Pakistan,
Hmm.
they haven't been able to pick up a win. I don't think today would have been any different. 5 down for 92 runs on the board. But it's a rain affected game. A lot.
Yes, too many. It's a lot. And as I said, all of them seem to be in Sri Lanka. So the
Yeah.
organizers really have to look at the times when they have these games and where they're going to have them. It's like sometimes I've seen matches in the Caribbean. Luckily, some nothing happens. Like CPL is done in the rainy
Yeah.
season and the hurricane season, but been
Yeah.
lucky so far. But back to the women's and the tables. And a bit of a surprise there with India is now sneaked ahead of New Zealand,
Yeah.
but India we expected to be near the top of the table. They're just in that fourth spot.
Um, they have they've disappointed, if I'm being completely honest. Um,
Hmm.
the game that they lost against South Africa should have been won. They're a decent batting side. The bowling seems to be letting them down. There just isn't enough in that bowling department to pick up wickets. The game against Australia, I mean, yeah, you put up 330, you can't defend it, but that's Australia we're talking it. They're different. They think
Yeah,
differently. They've got a winning attitude. Elise Perry out, retired hurt, comes back in. But that's the grit that that team has. And then you've got everyone down to number 11 who can actually hit the ball well.
yeah,
So,
and Healy's been batting well too. Alisa Healy.
yeah. She's been an interesting selection overall for me because for the last couple of years she's really struggled with the bat. She's
Hmm.
been the captain, and I suppose that gives her a little bit more leeway, but she turns up in big matches. And we've seen her do that time and time again in World Cups, especially. And she's now, I think, 2 half centuries in a row? I don't know if she got a half century in the last game, but she was not out at the end of
Two,
it.
2 centuries actually.
Yeah, 2 centuries in a row, back to back.
Yeah, back-to-back centuries. Yeah.
Yeah,
So she's been, as you said, she's not one that get a lot of runs for Australia normally, but in
yeah.
big times she shows up. And if you're looking at the table here, I think South Africa is a surprise for me on this table.
I am
They have.
so I can't
I
tell
know
you
you're
about South
happy
Africa.
for them. but they're in second position, and
Yeah.
yeah, England. Well, they're third, but they had a washout game. They're
Yeah.
still behind. They still can win the next couple of games, but South Africa, to me, is a team that has been the surprise of this tournament so far.
They started with such a shocker in game number 1
Yeah.
against England. It was shocking, wasn't it? And then they've just and they're hanging on. It's not like they've won any game convincingly yet, because even the game against Bangladesh came down to the wire, which I have to hand to Bangladesh. They have come out very strong in this World Cup. Apart from one game, every game that they've showed up in, they've been decent games.
Yes, they played some good cricket, to be honest, and they fight right down to the end. It's just
Yes.
yesterday in the shortened game, I think South Africa
Yeah.
dominated, but other than that, they've played pretty good cricket so far. And they've got the one win, along with New Zealand has got one win as well. And
Yeah.
they haven't had a washout, but it's lucky. But New Zealand, I think New Zealand, they'll get another point today. I hope.
Yeah.
It looks like. But Bangladesh, so the women have played. They've come a lot. I've seen in Bangladesh in the
Yeah.
past.
Yeah. They've definitely come a very long way. And I suppose the flip side to that is you look at New Zealand and they've been unimpressive. They need some players to retire. Unfortunately, they're just, Sophie Devine, she's carrying their batting lineup at the moment, and she's one of those players who will probably be retiring soon. But the likes of Susie Bates has given them nothing at the top, and that is a disappointment almost every single game. They're just not getting the start they need. Amelia Kerr doesn't seem to be in the form that she needs to be for a World Cup. They've disappointed overall.
Yeah, they're not. I just said some of them have to retire. I mean, maybe they've been playing for so long that
Yeah.
they maybe some of them have decided this is their last World Cup and will
Yeah.
retire. And they've not done what they expected as a New Zealand team for sure. And
Yeah.
today they were in a good position, but the rain has affected. Is it
The
off as
rain.
yet, or is it still?
No, it's still delayed.
It's just saying delayed. Yeah, it's still saying delayed. So
Yeah.
it's still a chance because if they can get in 20 overs, then they will continue because Pakistan has already batted
I don't think
25
they will,
overs.
though. There's rain and there's lightning at the moment.
Oh, so
So,
there's no reason,
yeah.
no chance that it's a very slim chance that they will come back out to play.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's how cricket goes. Actually, I think a lot of people after now playing, well, Australia, I think, came up with an indoor facility for cricket. I was building one.
Mhm.
And then after having some of the games in a BC place, the players are talking about this is cool. Maybe we should have indoor cricket now.
Yeah.
So maybe you'll see countries starting to look at putting a roof, just like the other sports, tennis, they do that. So
Yeah.
maybe you'll see them start to do things like that. But any
It needs to be.
predictions on the World Cup before I ask the
I'm just saying it
predictions
needs to
on
be a
World Cup?
pretty big facility.
Yeah, it needs to be a proper cricket facility because you know what happened with the boundaries. So
Yeah.
over 356s hit, I think.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah, so in a week. Yeah, so
And
what's
some of
any
them were flat.
predictions?
Some of them are just this flat all the way to the boundary for six.
Very, very flat. It's like you drive just a normal drive, but
Yeah.
upish. It goes
Yeah.
6.
6 runs.
Yeah, I would have loved to play there.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
I was actually wondering how the women would go, but I mean, some of the women actually it was pretty good. Some were difficult, but like Deandra
Yeah.
Darton, like it was just normal for her. She'd have
Yeah.
been hitting sixes anyway.
Well, we
But back to
expected the
the
international.
hmm Go ahead.
We had expected the nationals to do well, didn't we? We'd spoken about Deandra Doughton, just a
Definitely.
regular day of cricket for her.
Yes. We'll talk a bit more about that, but just wanted your prediction before we get into the other cricket. So if you, on the women's, think it's going to stay the way it is, this top four, or any changes you're expecting
You know,
in the top?
because of the rain from the matches that are being played in Sri Lanka, I think the top four will probably remain the top four. But the order of the top four, I just feel like South Africa, because they've been hanging on by the coattails every single game, you
Hmm.
just you just don't know when they're going to start slipping up. So I feel like it's going to be Australia, India, England, and then maybe South Africa. But we'll have to see how that plays out.
The thing is that England has to play India.
Hmm.
England has India, and South Africa has Australia and Pakistan, which they should win the Pakistan for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
And England has Australia and is that the final? And New Zealand. So they should win New Zealand. Australia will be a tough one. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the top four pans out because India, Bangladesh, and New Zealand. So they should win those two.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel
So
like India should be able to beat England. Just
okay.
have a strong suspicion that I think they'll be able to pull off that win because England's also not playing the best cricket that we've seen them play, and they're very heavily reliant on Nat Silverbrand.
Hmm.
So whenever she ends up getting runs, they're in a very good position. But the days that she doesn't score runs, they're looking for little chip ins from everyone in that batting lineup. So because India does have some decent batting, if they can get a good total up, I think they'll be okay against England. It's going to come down to the toss, but um, yeah, we'll see how that plays out. I just feel like South Africa is a hit or miss, even against Pakistan. I don't trust them to be able to go in that game and say, you know what, we've got this, because they've just not been consistent.
That's true. But the bowling has been getting better, so
Yeah,
that's what's been helping them to keep teams to low scores. But yeah, they need to be consistent with the batting. Now,
yeah.
when yesterday, I think Wit is it? What's it? Brit? She
Jasmine
had
Britt. Yeah,
Jasmine Brit. She
yeah,
had two ducks in a row, and then she scored a
yeah.
half century yesterday. So maybe some confidence there. First time that they're, I forget how many games, but first time in a long time that their openers have put up 100
That's scored
partnership.
run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
My
that's
only issue with, well, not my only issue, but one of my biggest issues with the South Africa batting lineup is Sune Loose batting at number 3.
hmm,
I just don't think she's a number 3 bat. And the, I think she should be coming lower down the order. I know she can bat. I just don't think she's a number 3 bat. And she's not nearly consistent enough in that number 3 position.
right.
Also very slow. I find her strike rate very, very slow,
Hmm.
which then puts pressure on the other partner that she's batting with.
Right. So yeah, it's not good when you have to be picking up the slack for the other person. It can put you in a position where you probably will get out. So
Yeah.
that's not very good when you have to do those things for sure. Okay, I think that's anything else on the World Cup before we go into other cricket, like
Oh, looking forward to seeing it pan out.
to, yes, definitely. So we can talk a bit about the Super 60, and especially we'll start with the women since we're on women and the three matches that you had we played. I don't know if you had a chance to watch any of them because I know you were busy working at the time as also, and you may have not had the
I just have
chance.
to interrupt you for
But
a second.
hmm
I know you said you don't want to talk about the live scores,
no, I don't
but
want to.
what just
That's why.
happened?
That's why I went to the women. Okay.
Bowled out for
Yeah, the back.
133.
It's ridiculous. I was watching the game and I tried not to talk about that until maybe the end.
I'm
Since
sorry.
you want to talk about it, West Indies. I mean, you bowled out um, Bangladesh for 207, and
Yes.
the stat that West Indies had 79 for one, and then you put 133. It is actually ridiculous. I actually couldn't understand it. When I saw the fourth wicket down, I turned off because I knew that they were gonna get bowled out because they're not good players of spin. So I figured West Indies,
208
and one of the
runs is not that many runs in an
it's
ODI.
not, and I scoring and starting at 79. I mean, a 51 to start partnership before
Yes.
Athens got out, and he looked easy. And then both openers looked like there was nothing troubling them. And then
Yeah.
once they got out, the others didn't look like they had any chance of doing anything. And one of the players that I think, in my opinion, that need to really sit down, take some time by himself, and decide if he wants to play for West Indies or just go to franchise cricket is Shafane
Mm.
Rutherford.
Mm.
He looked like a player who's enjoying his cricket with West Indies. So if he's not, then just be honest and say, I don't want to play. I don't want to play the Maroon anymore because he is not doing himself any justice and he's not doing the team any good either. So
Mm.
I looked at his body language on and off the field, and it just don't look like somebody who wants to play. So maybe he's been forced for some reason, and I don't think he's been given West Indies his best
Yeah.
in recent time. And then the other thing that in this game that okay, I know there's spinners. Justin Graves just scored 50
Mm.
against top spinners in India,
Yeah.
but then he sends Moti in front of him, and some of the commentators said maybe because the left-arm spinner is on. But I've always told players if you can play spin, you play spin
Yeah.
because a left-arm spinner is bowling at the time and you're sending a left-hander. You have off spinners as well. So who tells you that you're not going to change the bowling?
Yeah.
Which they did, and that's what he got out to the off spinner. So send in the proper batsman to
Yeah.
bat in the position, Justin Graves, and then it's just not. It's embarrassing to see our West Indies lose these games. I'm not sure if they won the toss because I saw someone posted when you win the toss on these type of pitches, you need to bat first because it's going to
They
get
did.
worse.
Yeah. They won the toss,
And
but they elected to field first.
to, yeah,
Um, I can't believe it. I really thought they would have had this in the bag because they had a great start, but from the two openers, chasing
yes.
208, and they've pulled out for 133. Ingle.
As I said, I was watching the game, and when I saw the way they were approaching it, I figured when I saw the three with Casey Carty get out and then Shea Hope is like, to me as a batter, I don't understand. And I was speaking to one of the coaches at the Super 60, one of the former England players,
Mm.
and he said at some point in cricket, these youngsters are going to have to realize that the type of cricket that they say they're playing, which is called fearless cricket, they're going to have to realize at
Yeah.
some point that they need technique.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I noticed the way Casey Carty got out, he's facing a leg spinner, but he is trying to hit the ball through the onside
Yeah.
and got an edge. So I don't know where they get these kind of things from. And I just believe that you've got to play cricket properly.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with being fearless because I think guys like Viv Richards, like the ones who are saying they're now fearless, it's not now. Viv Richards, Gordon Greenwich, those
They were
guys from
fearless.
West Indies, they were fearless. But they played proper cricket because they had proper technique.
Yeah.
But these players today, I don't think they work hard enough.
No, no, I think that's been the biggest shift. It's the amount of time, the amount of effort they're putting into it, and then the mental approach as well. I fear that's going to be a problem with a lot of sports going down with time. The mental aspect. We don't spend enough time concentrating on anything anymore.
No, we don't. And it's really something, as you said, mental aspect, not just sports, but in life.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're so correct though. But in sports, the players they can't think for a long time.
Yeah.
They can't. They give you the million reasons why they did what they did.
Yeah.
So yeah, going back to that conversation, he actually said he's probably in his late 50s, the coach, maybe around 60, and he said, I can hit bowl right now. I can out bowl all of these bowlers that I'm
Was it
coaching.
Darren Goff?
No, it wasn't Darren. It was another gentleman. I can't remember the name. He was with the Brampton team, that one. Wait, before Garen Gafstein, he must be in his 60s actually, because
Yeah.
Shanti Kumar told me he played with him, so he must have been. Yeah, but have to check the name and get back from that. But
Grant
yeah, it's
Morgan. Grant
Grant Moore.
Morgan.
Yes, that's probably who it was. And he just said like he said I can out bowl them because I can bowl the ball two
Yeah.
spots and same spot. But when you ask the bowlers why they can't hit the same spot, they tell you it's their variation.
Yeah.
So it's really something that
Involuntary variation.
involuntary variation. But as we go back, as you said, to concentration and practice, players now they go to the nets and they said, "Okay, I want to work on this,"
Mhm.
and they hit two or three balls and say, "Okay, I feel
I
good,"
feel
and
good.
that's it. Yeah, that's it for the day.
Yeah.
You can't do that, but that's all how it is. Unfortunately, there's no purpose in the practices anymore.
I think that is the case with some. I think some of the top players still put in their time. And
Oh
it
yes,
shows.
no.
It shows in the way they execute, how often they execute as well.
When you look at the Gills and the Indian players,
Yeah.
especially,
Yeah.
you can see that they put in the time.
Yeah.
And Gil actually said something interesting. He said he learned that playing once you play Test cricket and you can play good at Test cricket, then the other forms will come easy.
Yeah.
But for the West Indians, they seem like they focus more on
It's the other
T20 and
way.
think,
Yeah.
and they're not. There's no. I always said there's no T20 cricketers, and I pointed out to someone who said to me, "Look at Pollard," and I said Pollard was averaging 46 in first class cricket
Yeah.
before he started
Yeah.
T20. So I think, yeah, people just need to understand you're not going to be a T20 cricketer.
Is that format that I've seen real? The T20 or the I don't even
I
remember what it's called, the T20 test or something like that?
Yeah, 20. I saw that and it must be real because I was looking at somewhere that said the A.B. de Villiers, Clive Lloyd, and a few others were
Hmm.
on this board panel that come up with it. So it's 80 overs. I mean, it's been done before because I've played RT Cup for Canada. We played 2 innings of 50 and you carry over. Because
Hmm.
USA, I remember USA leading us on the first innings and then we came back and won the game.
Yeah.
But I don't see why you need to play 20. And I was speaking to someone yesterday who was saying he liked the concept and that's what they need to do now. I'm like, it's not cricket. You're killing cricket.
I think we've got too many formats happening now. And it's a nightmare in
Mhm.
countries where you're trying to teach the sport.
It is.
And if you want it to be a global sport, you cannot come up with a new format as often as we are. Trust me, I get it. There's money in it. I get that they want to make it entertaining, but we're not making our job easier when it comes to making it a global sport.
No, we're not. And as I said, it's too many forms. I've even heard people talk about they don't mind if they have a 5 over.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
mean, soon they'll just toss, and whoever wins the toss wins the game.
exactly. Or just 1 over shootout or something. It makes sense. But yeah, the 20 test, as they're saying, I don't believe in that concept. I
Yeah.
think cricket's killing itself if it allow all these different concepts.
Yeah.
And we should just stick to the T20 is fun, it is what it is.
Yeah.
T10 is the same entertainment, and that's what fans want to see at times. But to go to it now, this T20 test, it's ridiculous in my opinion.
I'm
But
pretty sure we're going
and
to see it
they
happen, aren't we?
they're gonna, according to the news, they're gonna be testing it from 2026.
Yeah.
And I actually saw something where they might start it with under 19s and under 17, and I think that is actually a bad thing to do.
So the players that we want training in the longer format and training in their game, patience is the age group that we want to start with.
Yes,
Okay.
which does not make any sense to me, but I think it's now about entertainment, money,
Yeah.
short time, and just just in and out. Nobody wants to
I mean,
to.
listen, I'm completely of the understanding that you need money for sports to function.
Mhm,
You need the at the end of the day, you have to have the financial backing. If you don't, none of this exists, none of this grows. But at what point do we realize, and at what point do we say, yes, the money's important, but we're also really messing this up for the sport because we have now just started to concentrate purely on the money aspect and not necessarily the growth of the sport or the integrity of the sport.
mhm.
So I think I get it. I get that we need money. I just don't know if every money venture is the right thing for the sport.
I mean, it's yeah, exactly. Because okay, like some of the players who were here at the T10, and they've run off now. They've gone home for a couple of weeks, or gone wherever they've gone to for a couple of weeks. Then they go to Abu Dhabi for the T10, and
Mhm.
then from there they go to the ILT20.
Yeah,
So just different places, and it's just a matter of they don't want to put in the hard work, and they're happy with this because it's making a good living, right?
yeah,
I think Brian Lara mentioned that the players are already making a good living from West Indies players are making a good
yeah,
living. So why not put some effort now in West Indies cricket? But
yeah.
there's so much to talk about for West Indies cricket that I get upset that I don't even talk about it anymore. I
It's going
just
to need to be a separate 5-hour show.
yeah, I think I was this morning I felt good when I saw them chasing, and then after the two wickets fell, and the way that they approached the spinners, I thought that was it for them, unfortunately.
Oh,
So
yes. Sorry, I interrupted you
no,
when you were
that's
talking
fine.
about the Super 60
No,
Canada.
no, that's fine. I mean, it's a good debate, actually. Good
Yeah,
discussion. Yeah, the Super 60 Canada, I don't know if you had a chance, as you said, to watch any of it. A best of three for the women. And it went exactly how we would have wanted it, I'm sure, because the first game, you had a win by the Toronto, then Vancouver came back, won the second game.
yeah,
So there was a best of three. So it was and it was all about Deandra Dottin, really. If she did
yeah,
well, then you know where Toronto was going to lose.
yeah,
And that's what it came down to. The first game with Vancouver scoring 75, um, it looked at one stage like they were going to win, but then Dottin took over and she
yeah,
got 46 and 29 balls. Um, there's another player, though, who actually I thought was who played well, and I think we spoke about her before. For Toronto, Sai, I think it is Sai.
Hi,
Is
Purandare.
it Sach or Sachi? Sorry, Sachi.
Oh, Sachi, Dudwall.
Sachi, yeah, she's a pretty good
Yeah,
player actually. Yeah, she
she's a
looks like.
very good player. Yeah.
Mhm.
I
And
think she comes from Qatar, doesn't she?
yeah, she does. She actually would have
Yeah,
played on the 19 for Qatar, but
yeah,
she's now here in Canada. And I believe she would qualify for Canada in a couple of maybe one more year, and she would
yeah.
qualify for Canada. But she looks like
She
really
plays
one.
with intent
Yeah, she does.
and very sound technique, and she can balance that with the power hitting as well. She's a very good player.
Yeah, I was actually quite impressed with the standard of play from the women. You
Yeah,
can see there's improvement, and because they played, I spoke to her a bit. She was impressed also.
yeah,
It's funny though that a player of her caliber, at the toss when they spoke with her, she said she was nervous. You'd think that she probably just got this as another game, and not as, but she wanted to win, and
yeah.
yeah, she's got 70 in that for the first game, was it? In the
And she
finals,
smashed
right?
it.
She smashed it
She,
all over.
yeah,
In that first game, she really smashed it. In the second and final game, she started a little slowly, but she was able to pick it up and win. So, and we can see the girls really wanted, they really took it very serious because they're so sad when they lost. I mean, I had to talk to them and
yeah.
say, come on, cheer up. The Vancouver girls just sat on the bench like they didn't want to move.
Yeah.
But
You know,
yeah, it was.
I think it's good to see that first of all, there have been women's games. And
Mm,
second of all, the quality's been decent enough and that it's meant so much to the players. It's there's still obviously a disparity between what the locals were able to perform like compared to the internationals. But the more exposure
mhm.
that the locals get with the internationals is just going to help improve that standard. And I think that exposure is key because you might think you're really good here because you've not been exposed to how good players are elsewhere. And sometimes that reality check is important because you're thinking, oh, I'm the greatest that I am here wherever I live, but there's a whole other world out there. And that reality check can be a bit humbling and just kind of light that fire that I need to work a lot harder to get to the level that I need to be at. And they're off to Uganda and Tanzania as well. I think they'll be getting a bit more of that reality check as well. I think you need that perspective to
You
progress in
do.
your own game.
You do. I think they would have landed in Uganda today, and they played their first game on the 20th. It's a quick turnaround now because
Yeah,
it's big time, long travel time difference,
jet lag.
and this
Yeah,
jet lag. Yeah, but yeah, I understand exactly what you say. It's good to play with those other top players to see. I think Wellington, the captain of Vancouver, she's actually a very good player as well.
mhm,
And
mhm,
Zara Jetleaf, the New Zealander,
yeah,
she's a very confident player. You know,
yeah,
she is and she's a lot of these girls too. They're not just playing cricket. It's so much about the social media. They are influencers. I'm told a couple of
full
them.
time job.
Yeah, it's a full-time job.
Yeah,
I mean, I've seen it not on the amount of I think we spoke about it with both all of the teams, men and women. The amount
yeah.
of social media people that they had with them. It's just
I
about getting.
must say I was really surprised at the number of social media influencers they had at Super 60 Canada.
It was
I
a lot.
don't think I've seen so many at many tournaments, and there were a lot of them. A lot.
There were definitely a lot. There were just every team had so many social media
Yeah,
people. Like, sometimes it was a tough keeping a track on who is with which team. But yeah,
team.
it's just too many, and
Yeah,
they have to also understand their boundaries. That's something that
yeah,
because they get upset when you say you can't go in certain areas. They don't
yeah.
understand it. Think that they were told, I guess, by the teams they can go anywhere and take pictures and do whatever they want to,
Yeah.
but it's not that way. And
I suppose this is where the teams need to communicate guidelines because even from a tournament organization perspective, it just makes things difficult for you.
yes, it does. And the first couple of days we had trouble, but then after that, it settled down a bit once they understood what they could and cannot do. So but it was a nightmare to start though. You were fighting with
I
them
think the first
because
couple of days are always a bit difficult.
yeah, especially when it comes to the PMOA area, the player,
Yeah,
they feel like they can just go in there and do anything, do interviews with the players while the game is going on. Yes, you can,
yeah,
but you can do it on the field of play, not inside the dugout.
yeah.
And they, there's no understanding of that. So there's some things to improve on.
So for
Uh,
next year, do you think Super 60 Canada will be longer or will they stick to the 4 games a day?
it will be longer. It'll be longer next year. I think the window this year, from what I'm understanding, it's going to be 9 or 10 days next year,
Right.
and even including more women teams. So probably going to have 4 games in some days when the women are playing, but generally 3 games per day.
It's exciting. It's good to see the growth. I hope to see GT20 back in Canada as well next year.
Well, we fit to have GT20 because Super 60 will most likely go back to BC. So
Yeah,
GT20 in Toronto and then a Super 60 later on. I mean,
yeah,
Canada could ask for more than that.
yeah,
So it'd be great.
yeah. That's fantastic for the players.
On the men's side, on the Brampton Blitz, they won over Montreal quite easily. I
Mm.
actually thought Vancouver had the best team, but I don't know what happened to them in the semifinals to Montreal. Chasing 100, they can only manage 76, which to me was really shocking. And the coach was very unhappy, Donovan Miller. You know, he said to me, you know, we had the best team, but something just went wrong there. I
Yeah,
don't know, but it just, but one of the things I noticed that depending on the time of the temperature outside,
yeah,
the pitch played different. It was
right.
difficult times. So, and there are times
I
when
was
it
going to
was
ask you about the pitch actually, because you said it was a hybrid, just the one
hybrid.
strip.
One strip, and it held up pretty well, actually,
Hmm.
because sometimes I think the first game was a little tacky because you have to wet it overnight, and it's not warm enough to dry because the
Mm,
stadium temperature was basically almost the same as the outside temperature.
yeah, yeah,
So at times it was down to single digits. I mean, people are wearing winter jackets inside the stadium.
yeah.
So
It's not nice as a player either.
no, I think you know, got to figure out how to. I'm sure they can turn the temperature up, but
Yeah,
that's discussions for the future. It was a good tournament, I think, and there were areas to improve, but a good start, and the fans are happy. It looked like a little bit of people, but yeah, for cricket, I think having crowds up to 5 and 6,000 is good in Canada.
yeah,
But it looked empty because of 56,000 seat stadium,
yeah,
so
yeah.
just one side. But it was noisy. It was good. They gave the fans vuvuzelas, which was I thought they were banned, but it was noisy.
They're loud.
So loud. They were supposed to use them for fours and sixes, but it was constant throughout.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've got about 6 minutes. I don't know if you want to talk a bit about the NCL. I think.
Yeah, NCL was good. In the end, it was LA Waves who won the final, which was quite surprising because when they started the series, when they started the tournament, LA Waves looked like they would be one of the first teams out.
Mm,
So they did very well. I think a lot of credit has to be given to Paul Nixon, who was coaching them.
yeah.
George Mundy was captaining, and I think they, because you've only got 10 or 11 days, you need to turn things around so quickly. But for them to come in, turn things around after a couple of initial losses, figure out combinations that worked with them, whether it was in their batting lineup, their bowling lineup, was pretty incredible. And they beat Lone Stars, who were unbeaten until the qualifiers, where they lost just the one game. Right before the qualifier, they lost one game, still at the top of the table. But sometimes I really wonder how captains decide what they're going to do when they win the toss,
Right.
because the Lone Stars actually won the toss, and yet they were a good chasing side based on their stats, and the LA Waves were a good defending side based on their stats. The Lone Stars still chose to have to chase. They think,
Mm,
yeah, we think that we can chase because we won 4 out of 7 games chasing. But when you compare the two sides, they were a decent chasing side. I'll give them that. But I think Lone Stars was a much, much stronger defending side than them. And they fell right into the trap that LA Waves were looking for.
mm.
Didn't
I
have it.
know.
They didn't have it in the end. So
Wow.
it was a decent tournament. Chris Gale, Sir Curtly Ambrose were there for the finals. So that was nice for the crowds to be able to get some pictures with them, some autographs. Um, And then, of course, we started with Lara and Sachin, which was also
Yeah.
nice. Overall, a pretty decent tournament. I think they're doing some really good things in their partnerships with the university there, University of Texas in Dallas. And it's nice to see some of these partnerships because then you get access to venues, you get access to a lot of things that the university can help out in, whether it's promotions, whether it's other development projects, whatever you really need to piggyback off of the university. So that was nice to see those partnerships. We did talk about GT20 Canada
Oh, okay.
multiple times at the tournament.
I'm sure.
Um, yeah, that came up a few times in interviews and on air.
I'm
So
sure that.
NPL was pushing GT20 pretty hard at the super or at the 60 Strikes
Hat-trick
tournament.
ones.
Yeah.
Good. Hopefully, we'll see it back in track next year, and everybody likes those tournaments. I think people like coming to Canada. North America and a whole
Yeah.
Canada, you'd say they
Yeah.
do like to come there. So
I've heard from a lot of players that they really enjoyed coming to GT20. It's a 3-week tournament. You play some decent cricket, decent competition, decent players, and it's 3 weeks in Toronto.
yes,
So,
definitely.
yeah.
It's a good thing. Yeah. We're just about coming to the end of our program. Just going to run through some scores on the football scores in the English Premier League. Chelsea 3, Nottingham Forest 0. That's full time in the early game. The halftime and the other game scores are Brighton and Hove Albion 1-0 over Newcastle. Burnley 1, Leeds 0. Crystal Palace 0, Bournemouth 2, Manchester City and Everton 0-0. Sunderland 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. So those are the scores. And quickly in the tables, the teams that are at top of the tables are not team you expect to see, but Bournemouth is at top of the table at the moment. Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester, Tottenham, and then Chelsea.
Mhm.
So Manchester United is down to 11th spot. I don't think Theo will be too happy with that, but they're down there looking to get some wins, I'm sure. And we're just about out of town, Monali. And just like to say to whoever fans are watching, those of you listening and watching, thanks for joining. Enjoy your weekend and be safe.